Hello, I just wanted to thank you for clicking on my video, and I also wanted to let you know that not only do I create content here on Class in the Glass, but I also stream content in my Twitch channel, Mr. Revan7. I play single-player games, multiplayer games, and I also do movie reviews and cartoon reviews as well. I also want to encourage you to check out my Patreon, Class in the Glass, where I offer audio commentaries, full reactions for movies, and also the ability to submit questions for my video casts and podcasts. In the meantime, thank you for watching, and enjoy the video.
You report some missing children?
Oh, there must be some mistake. Ours are in the backyard. Right, honey?
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
We're all the size of boogers.
Dad, don't eat me!
But now let's go ahead and get into the details, chat, the plot. We are starting out in Fresno, chat. And, actually, no, I got to reverse, chat, because we had to talk about this wonderful animated opening sequence. Now, originally, chat, when this movie came out back in the day, they had the first of the Roger Rabbit skits. That premiered in front of several Disney pictures. Roger Rabbit came out the year before in 1988. Huge success, highest grossing movie of 1988, chat. One of my favorite films of all time. One that I'm going to be reviewing on this stream someday. I own it on Blu-ray, chat. Absolutely adore it. It's in my top 20 films of all time. If you have not seen Who Framed Roger Rabbit, do yourself a favor. Bob Hoskins, chat. Can we talk about Bob Hoskins? I can't do that right now. We got to save it for that review eventually. But he's amazing as Eddie Valiant, chat. Highly recommend it. But they actually did release a Roger Rabbit skit with Baby Herman, little Baby Herman. And Roger Rabbit's just trying to protect Baby Herman from all sorts of dangers, chat. And he does, but mostly, you know, it injures him, horrifically injures him, chat. He gets mauled. His body is destroyed, chat. But he does indeed protect Baby Herman, thank God. And then, chat, we transition over to another anime sim, which is the opening credits. And that's like, you know, they put a lot of work into this chat, these credits, chat. Nice 2D opening credits. So we see Amy and Nikki Zielinski, chat. Although not how they're represented in the film. But I guess some artist interpretation, probably before the movie even came out, it's like, hey, this is a concept of what we want the kids to be, you know? And we see them trying to circumvent all sorts of dangers, chat. Trying to get away from some we even see in the actual movie. Got to get away from a vacuum cleaner, chat. A giant typewriter, chat, because that's what they didn't use computers. They used typewriters. It's a terrifying experience. In the animated segment, chat, but it's quite charming in a horrifying kind of way. But then, chat, we transition to live action, chat. And we are following this mailman, and he's delivering all the mail, chat, to these ordinary homes. You got the one house he was just at, the Thompsons, chat. It's a good old, you know, apple pie Americana family. But then he goes to the next one, chat, opens the next mailbox. Oh, it's disgusting. It's so disheveled. And it says Zielinski. Zielinski, who are those? Those are foreigners, chat. We don't want them here. You know, some people might think that way. But it's okay, chat, because the mailman, he knows Zielinskis are a little weird. And he goes ahead, he gives the mail to their dog, chat, their dog, Quark. And he goes in the house, and you see that it's all disheveled. It's filled with all kinds of science and knick-knack things. And we go to the kitchen, chat. It's not an ordinary kitchen, because we're introduced to the young Amy Zielinski, chat. She's the oldest of the two Zielinski children. She will also eventually be the third oldest, chat, but that's in the sequel. They don't blow up the baby yet, chat. That's the sequel. And so she's making breakfast for her little brother, Nick, who very much takes after his father, chat. It's a spitting image of Rick Moranis, chat. And he loves all the science things. And good old Amy, she's talking on the phone, talking to her girlfriend, wants to go to the mall. That's what the kids back in the 80s wanted to do, chat. They always loved going to the mall. And she can't wait to go to the dance, I think it's the Blossom Dance. I don't know what prompt. I don't know. It's a dance sometime on Friday. This upcoming Friday. I think it's like a Tuesday. Maybe it's Thursday. No, it's like a Wednesday. It's like a Wednesday, chat. And she's talking on the phone, and Nick, he is making a small model version, chat, a small model version. Mr. Yasman, welcome. A small model version of his dad's shrink ray. We have not seen the shrink ray yet, chat. We are seeing a modified version of it. And Amy, she's watching her brother while cooking breakfast in her own way. And, you know, she starts talking. It's not all, you know, well and good in the Zielinski household, chat. Because Rick Moranis, Wayne Zielinski, and Mrs. Zielinski, they got into a big argument. And Amy and Nick know that this is just not looking good. Divorce was discussed. Separation, maybe at the very least, chat, was discussed. And, you know, they just don't know what to do with themselves. And she says, I gotta watch my brother because he tends to take things apart. Now, chat, if you watch this movie again, as she says that line, fucking little Nikki Zielinski is looking directly at the dog. I was just like, that was done on purpose. So Nikki Zielinski, chat, is clearly insane. There's no doubt about that. I think that's probably not quirk number 1. It's like quirk number 4 at this point. He has been taking apart the dogs. And the thing is, you guys send him to like you need psychiatric help, chat. That's like sociopathic. You know, that definitely says he doesn't care about the dogs. You got to do that. You got to put him on some medication at the very least, or he's going to end up being a little Michael Myers, and you don't want that on your hands, Chad. Be turned into a whole nother horror film. And so, eventually, they're done. She hangs up the phone. She's done. She's tangled herself up in the wire, chat, and the cord, because back in the day, phones did have cords. They did have cords. And she's walking around, and Nick, you know, he's done his little contraption. She's like, are Mom and Dad going to be okay? And Amy looks, like, they may argue sometimes. They may have, like, a bit of an issue with each other, but you can tell that there's a lot of affection. You can tell it's a very close-knit family, particularly between Amy and Nikki. And she goes, whatever happens, we're going to be together. And he goes, yay! And he runs up there, chat, to go check on his dad. Meanwhile, we were now with Wayne Zielinski, and he's working on his shrink ray, chat. The iconic device that we see across all the films, chat, whether it's shrinking or growing things. Eventually, we also see the same model, chat, which is pretty cool, the same model in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, the TV show. And so he goes up there, and his dad is Rick Moranis. He is just completely immersed in his work, Chad, not paying attention to anybody. But little Nick, he shows up. He's like, hey, Dad, breakfast is ready. And he shows, look what I made. It's a little model of his actual shrink ray. And Rick Moranis could give a shit less, Chad. He pays. He's like, that's great, Nick. Why don't you go downstairs and eat breakfast? He's like, but Dad, I want to show you what. He's like, Nick, I have to work on my machine. I can't look at whatever the hell you're doing. It's like, Jesus Christ. Rick Moranis, why are you treating your kids so terribly? He's basically you. He's trying to impress you. Dark thing with 5 minutes, Hank Pym's gonna sue a motherfucker. Yes, very true. Very true. And oh my God, and the ants in here. You had an ant. They actually have an ant named Anthony. And it's like Ant-Man owes a lot to, or no, excuse me, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids owes a lot to Ant-Man, chat. Someone should goddamn sue, whether it be Hank Pym or Scott Lane, Eric O'Grady, whatever the new Ant-Man is, chat. There's so many Ant-Man in the Marvel Comics. I can't keep track of them all. But Nick goes down, and Wayne Zielinski, he's typing in, like, I'll be right down 5 minutes, and she's like, he's not gonna be down. Eventually, he does come down, chat, and he's chowing down on breakfast and everything. He's enjoying himself. The fucking Amy, she can't cook for shit. She just makes burnt eggs, burnt toast, and burnt bacon, which is all incredibly unhealthy to you, Chad. If you have like stuff that's just consistently burned like that, just like you get cancer risk, apparently. Allegedly cancer risk, so don't do it. She gives it the dog. She's like, well, the dog's, he's 14 years old. He's only got 1 year left. He can eat some more cancer-ridden food. And Wayne Zielinski's like, I'm late for my big presentation at the university or whatever, the conference. He's got to go to a conference, chat. Got to talk about his shrink ray. And it didn't work, by the way. He tested it, chat. He tested it right before he came downstairs. He wanted to shrink an apple. But, chat, that shit did not shrink. It exploded. It blew up everywhere. And he's talking to his dog and his good old thinking couch. Shay calls it his thinking couch, trying to come up with all good ideas how to shrink or blow things up. And he's like, well, found out a new great way to make applesauce, but you're probably not going to make a lot of money on that. There probably is easier ways. That was actually very difficult, probably very expensive. And so he goes back downstairs, doesn't even realize what time it is. He's got to get going. And he says, kids, if you don't mind, when your mom comes home, we're not doing too well, by the way, but when your mom comes home, could you clean up the house? Can you do the dishes? Can you mow the lawn? I'd really appreciate it and put her mind at ease, because she's trying to sell a house to these rich fucks. She's been showing it to them 12 goddamn times, and they can't come up with, you can't make up their minds. So let's just try to relax when she gets home. And right before he's about to walk out the door, chat, Mom calls. And she says the same shit. And there was a brief conversation between Wayne and Mrs. Wayne Zielinski. And you're like, you can still see there's affection, chat, but there's awkwardness. There's an awkwardness to the conversation. And he's like, okay, I'll see you later at lunch. And then he goes ahead and he leaves to his conference chat. Meanwhile, we cut to the Russells chat, and fucking or not, isn't it? No, Thompson's, the Thompson's chat. Not Russell's name of the dad and the son. And he's already kind of pissed off because the Zielinskis, he's working all day and night in his goddamn shrink ray. And he's like, it's Saturday, Zielinski. Can you just give it a break for once? Can I sleep in, please? Zielinski doesn't even hear him. He gets up, chat, because Mr. Thompson is very excited, chat. He's going to be going on a fishing trip with his wife and his two boys, his two baby boys, chat. Russell Jr. and Ron. You got a good old Ron, chat. And they're all getting ready. The thing is, though, Russell Jr., Chad, he's not like his dad. Like, his dad wants him to be on the football team, but he quit the football team. He doesn't like football. He said, well, you can work it up. I don't really want to work out. It's not really my thing. Weights aren't my thing. He wants to pursue other things, Chad. You know, he's a man of the arts. He just wants to dance. As we learned, he just wants to dance. He wants to be free. And Dad's like, no, you got to lift weights and be tough and be a football player. He's like, I don't like that. And his other son, Chad, little Ron, he's the opposite. He's a little psychopath. The way he's running around, I'm surprised he and Nick don't get along, chat, because he is building fucking Rambo-esque traps in the backyard and entrapping his dad and like shooting him with arrows filled with super glue, so when it penetrates his skull, he can't get out, chat. And so the super glue goes underneath the skin and flesh, eventually to the brain. And so when he pulls out the arrow, his brain is also pulled out. So it's terrible. A terrible situation. Footloose is definitely Russell Jr.'s favorite movie. There's no doubt about that, Jack. A lot of Kevin Bacon in him. There's a lot of Kevin Bacon in that boy. I agree. Bacon boy. Hey, Nate, welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing very well. And so they're doing all this stuff, and, you know, Mr. Thompson, Russell Sr., he's trying to get ready for this fishing trip, pack everything away. Ron's excited about it, but Russell, he could not even be bothered to be excited about it. And we get some shenanigans of him trying to bond with his son. It's like, hey, let's lift weight together. And the fucking Russell Sr. can't even lift the goddamn weights because his muscles have atrophied, chat. He's a smoker, and he just quit recently, but he's been smoking all his life. And the thing, I suspect that, chat, the reason why he wants to go on this fishing trip is because he doesn't have much time left. Okay, he might as well be just like the Zelensky's dog. You know, he's got one good year left, and then the cancer will come back and will afflict him. So he's like, go on this fishing trip, bond with the family, then I can rest peacefully. But we don't know that. That was another plot point that I think was dropped for the movie. So, I don't know that. Man, I don't know what's going on here. Automod is very aggressive. Regular mods are great, but Automod, I don't know why. Automod is very aggressive. Anyway, and so he's packing all this shit away, trying to bond with his son, not working out well. And, little Nicky Zelensky, he's like, okay, I gotta mow the lawn, but I am a man of science. I do not mow lawns. I have mud people and peasants do it for me. And so he contacts one of the neighborhood kids, maybe a friend, I don't know. Didn't seem very friendly relationship, chap, but he contacts one of the neighborhood kids, possibly a friend, and he's like, hey, could you come here and mow the lawn? He's like, but I gotta go do this other thing. He's like, well, can you be back by, like, before noon? And the kid's like, yeah, because he's excited. He wants to mow the lawn, because the lawnmower, it's like remote control. It's like a little robot lawnmower. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. But the kid's like, I can come back and do it later. He's like, fine, whatever. And Wayne Zelensky covers that up. He waits for that kid. Eventually, Amy, she's cleaning up the kitchen, chat. She's dancing. She loves to dance. That's the thing about Amy, chat. She loves to dance. And I'll admit, chat, she's a good-looking girl. Like little Chris Herman, you know, teenage, you know, no, preteen, 10-year-old Chris Herman. When he saw Amy, was like, oh my God, she's beautiful. Absolutely, chat. And that's apparently Russell Jr., he felt the same way because he's helping his dad moving things in the RV. He sees good old Amy dancing there with the mop, and he is just fucking flummoxed. And then he just becomes a creeper. He just starts staring. And then you see him moving and grooving. He's like, oh, he wants to dance. And she's a dancer too. And he's dancing even though they don't know. It's a forbidden love of sorts, chat. It's like a forbidden love. They don't know what's actually happening. And so he's dancing. She looks towards him. He ducks out of the way because he don't want to be seen. He'll be too embarrassed. He'll be too embarrassed by her. And so eventually, Ron, he's saying some shit to little Nicky Zelensky, just kind of being mean and everything. And when that's all happening, he goes back and he's playing around in his backyard, wants to play some b-ball, play the baseball. Dad won't help him. He's counting all his meatloaf stacks that they're going to be cooking apparently on this fish trip. Why are you eating the goddamn fish? Why are you eating meatloaf and taters and shit? And so he's going to be doing that. He's like, he has no one to play baseball with. So what he does, Chad, he wants to play baseball by himself. What fun. And so he's doing the whole, you know, fucking baseball thing. He throws the balls up and boo, he hits that ball right there. But the thing is, it doesn't, like, first of all, what are you going to expect was going to happen when you hit the goddamn ball? The ball sails all the way over to the Zelensky's yard, chat, goes right through the window, breaks the top window of Wayne Zielinski's laboratory, chat, hits the shrink ray, everything starts bursting and the sparks and everything, and the baseball lands in the path of the laser beam, chat, and it stops it, and the machine's malfunctioning, and fucking, Ron's like, oh, shit, well, I'm glad no one saw that, but someone did see that, chat. It was Russell. Russell Jr. saw that, and he grabs Ron by the goddamn nape of his neck, so we got to go over there and apologize. We got to tell him about the b-ball. And he's like, no, we don't have to, but we got to. And Ron, he marches up there and he opens the door. It's Amy, chat, and he is a loss for words. This is the most beautiful girl he has ever seen in his life. He can't help himself, and he's stumbling and shit. But eventually he composes himself. He says, my idiot brother, Ron, he accidentally hit the ball at 2 yard. It broke your window up there. We apologize. You can, we can pay for it and everything. But can you go get his ball back? And Amy, you can tell there's like there's a moment. It was like a moment of attraction, chat, between Russell and Amy. And she tells Nick, go show Ron upstairs. And he's like, I want to show Ron. I don't like Ron. It's like, I don't care. Go show him where his ball is. And he's like, fine. They go up there, chat. Good old Nick and little shit Ron. They go up there. As soon as they appear above the door, chat, as soon as they get the machine, it starts analyzing them, and it's like foremost target identified, and boom, it hits him, chat. What does it hit him with? We do not know. Meanwhile, we cut to the Wayne Zielinski's conference, and it's not going well, chat. It's not going well. He's having some issues. People are just walking out as he's explaining shrinking technology, chat. No one gives a shit. They don't take him seriously. People are snickering. People are laughing. So eventually, chat, one guy, he just starts talking, saying, like, listen, wait, you're saying all these lofty ideas and things. Do you have tangible proof? Do you have tangible proof that you can shrink matter? How's that possible? And the thing is, Wayne Zielinski, this man's a scientist. By the way, chat, Wayne Zielinski, Rick Moranis' character, says he's a scientist. He's the worst scientist ever, because he says, well, I don't actually have proof. I just want you guys to believe me. Which is like, that's stupid, okay? Wayne Zielinski, you bring all this mockery upon yourself and your family name, okay? You gotta have proof. Actually do it before you come to a conference and saying like, oh, I could do all these things. Okay, show us. He's like, I can't do it. Then it doesn't exist. Chat. And so everyone starts leaving. Everyone starts laughing at him, chat. But he has his good old, I guess, professor, one of his compatriots, chat, one of his colleagues, if you will. He believes Rick Moranis, and then he tells him what we're all thinking. He's like, Wayne, just show them proof, and then they'll believe you. He's like, I got to get that proof, sir. He's like, yeah, you do. And they leave, chat. Eventually, we cut back to the Zielinski residence, and Amy and Nick, they're doing the lovey-dovey eyes at each other, but they're still waiting for, excuse me, Russell, not Amy and Nick. No, not doing lovey-dovey. No, chat, no. It's not an incestuous relationship. Russell and Amy, they're doing the lovey-dovey eyes, but they're wondering what happened to Ron and Nick. They're like, fuck it, let's just go upstairs and check on them, chat. They go up there, check out, and the machine says, foremost target identified. Boom! Hits them with the shrink ray, chat, and they find themselves on the floor. And they're like, oh my God, they're looking around themselves, and all these ordinary things that's like, they're just kind of average. It's like, oh, it's a table. Now they are taller than the tallest mountain on the planet, chat, than the tallest skyscrapers in any city in the world. They have become shrunk. They have shrunketh, and they are 6 millimeters tall, chat. That is very small. Dark everything with 5 minutes. So who's the worst scientist, Rick Moranis or woman in Prometheus? Ooh. Well, I'd have to say definitely the lady in Prometheus, because everyone died, and they touched things they shouldn't touch, and they all brought on themselves. At least Rick Moranis, spoiler chat, Rick Moranis his machine does work, and then he solves it and he fixes the situation. He does save his children. Like, that actually does happen. So I imagine it's Shaw, it's Elizabeth, the main one. The main woman from Prometheus. She's definitely the worst one. Here you go. I gotta take a drink, chat. Woo! And so they have shrunk to the size of a 6 millimeter chat, and they're just fucking panicking. They cannot believe what's actually happening. Glee, thank you for 100 biddies. Good punches. Yeah, I think you figured, at least no one died. No one died. Everything went back to normal. The Zielinskis became multi-billionaires, or really probably trillionaires with their technology. They're doing all right. They're clearly doing all right. While everyone else in the Prometheus is dead, except to her. And then she was a product of an experiment by a very sociopathic and overacting his ass off Michael Fassbender character, okay? That's what happened. So I give it to Rick Moranis. I give it to Wayne Zielinski. And so they're freaking out because they're so goddamn small. Thank you, Steve, for the 100 biddies. Juicy, please pour yourself some whiskey after that water. I know. I need to. I was drinking beforehand because it was so mad. I just need water. I'm just so goddamn thirsty. I'm thirsting, and it cannot be quenched. Can't be quenched. No one died. There you go. So they're all freaking out because they're 6 millimeters tall. They're all yelling at each other and shit. But oh my God, the dog walks in. Quark, he sees them. And the thing is, I was Quark. I just fucking eat those. I don't know what the fuck those are. I just eat them. But he doesn't, chat, because he's a good dog. He's a good boy. He's a good boy, despite Nick killing his 3 other previous dog brothers, chat. Nick clearly was taking them apart somehow, but he was like, those are my predecessors. I'm gonna prove myself that I'm worthy of Nick's affection and not worthy of his scalpel. And so they're like, oh, shit. It's like, how could the dog hear us? Because Quark could actually hear them. And he goes, well, dog's hearing is like the best ever. And they all scream, Quark, go get Dad. And he's like, yeah. And he goes down the stairs. Meanwhile, fucking Wayne Zielinski comes home. And he's just so depressed, chat. He's a failure. Everyone's laughing at him. And the dog comes back down and starts yapping. And she's like, whoa, what do you want? What? And he goes to the kitchen. She's like, where are the kids? Why is everyone doing? The dog goes back upstairs. He goes back upstairs. And he's like, what's going on in here? And he looks over that the window was was smashed. He's like, what the hell? He goes over there, chap. Goes over the window. Oh, by the way, when the machine hit him again, the fucking baseball fell off of it, chat. And he's like, oh, whatever the hell that was. And he picks up the baseball. He's like, what? Oh my God! Someone threw a baseball into our room. That's so terrible. And so then he goes like, I'm going to ponder this. I'm going to go to my thinking couch, Shep. But when he fucking tries to sit down, his thinking couch is not there anymore. He's like, what happened to my thinking couch? He's so, that was the thing, Shep. When he fucking fell on his ass, then he was very upset. Because he just goes back to the tricking machine. He's like, you piece of shit. You've ruined my life. My colleagues don't respect me. My wife wants to divorce me, and my kids aren't even here. I hate you. And he grabs a baseball bat and just starts smashing the shit. And the kids are like, no, this is our only chance, no. And he smashes the shit out of it. He just doesn't give a shit. And he's like, they're like, oh my God. But then he realizes that he's made a significant mess. He's made a significant mess, Chet. He's like, I got to sweep this shit up. And so he goes ahead and grabs a broom, Chet, but he does not realize that his children and the neighbor kids are 6 millimeters tall. And so while he's sweeping up all these dust and parts and things, he accidentally sweeps up his children as well. He's like, and they're like, they're screaming, Chet. He gets them in the dustbin. He throws them in the garbage, throws them in a big old black bag. And he wanders out to the backyard, Chet, where they pick up their trash all the way back there, goes over there, pops that thing in there and goes back to the house. Enjoy himself a nice fucking drink. That's what I'd do if I was a failure, chat. If my colleagues were laughing at me all the time, my wife didn't respect me. That's what good old Wayne Zielinski needs right now. And the Thompsons are like, where are our boys? They're always asking, what happened to our boys and shit? But eventually, Chad, we cut back to the garbage bag, and they're complaining about this situation that they find themselves in. But someone finds like a piece of glass, and they cut through the thick black garbage bag, Chad, and they open up, and might as well be a jungle for them, Chad. The densest and deepest of all jungles, but it's just the backyard of the Zielinski residence. And like, holy shit. And they drop down like these giant, it looks like slides, but they're just blades of grass. And they drop down there. And like, how the hell are we going to get back there? Well, and they're saying like, well, it's not that far. It's not that far away. And little Nick Zielinski, he's the smart one, Chad. He knows his math very well. He starts bopping and booping some numbers in. And he's like, well, according to like how small we are and the feet away from the house, it is the equivalent of 3.2 miles for us, which honestly, Chad, 3.2 miles is not that bad. 3.2 miles is bad. Chris, I got to get going. Have a great night. Thank you. Appreciate you stopping by. Hope you're doing okay. Always a pleasure seeing you in here, man. Thank you for your support. Sleep well. And they said, it's just 3.2 miles away. Now, chat, 3.2 miles is not bad at all. You can eat that, take like maybe on an hour, a couple hours, just walking straight. You'll be fine. You'll be absolutely fine, chat. You're going at a steady pace. A steady pace, you'll get there by lunchtime. Get there by dinner time, if anything. But the thing that complicates it, chat, they are 6 millimeters tall. And ordinary creatures like a fucking ant or a bee or whatever, chat, or whatever you can think of, a single trickle of water is a catastrophe for them. It is dangerous. And I like that, chat. The concept of ordinary things that we would never pay any mind to would become horrifying depending on our size. I think that's a really cool idea. I really dig that, chap. And you had other films back in the day that explored that. I mean, of course, The Honey I Shrunk the Kids is probably the most well-known one. But then you had things like Inner Space. We had things like Inner Space, chat. We had, obviously, a lot of classic sci-fi films. I mean, classic bad sci-fi films, exploring the idea of what would happen if we shrink ourselves to something that's very small. Like, that's interesting. Ooh, chat. Thank you, Dark Side of the 5 Biddies. The rated R version of this movie is Rick Moranis dies from alcohol poisoning. The kids die, and the mother goes into prostitution. My mind's messed up. I know. That's pretty goddamn dark, Lair. I also want to thank our new follower here. Chat and pay some respect to Jeremy Garrett 12. Thank you for the follow. You're my Huckleberry. Welcome to my review of The Honey I Shrunk the Kids. It gets very dark from here. And so they're like 3.2 miles. That's impossible. Which I'm sorry. Shut up. That won't be too bad. But in hindsight, the mundane has become dangerous, chat. It's very dangerous, the mundane now. And so they continue walking through the grass jungle, if you will, chat. And they come to a new area, chat. It's impassable. There is this stream, and it looks like, I don't know what the fuck that is, chat. The one Ron, he says that could be like a fucking stream of dog piss for all we know. And then Russell and Amy's like, I am not crossing that, chat. And they even see like all sorts of dead insects. You can see a giant fly corpse. It's still moving. It's just burning, chat. It's just burning in this liquid magma. Might as well be liquid magma, chat. They're throwing shit in it. It was like, that's not good. Doesn't look safe. And it's like, eventually, we just got to make our way around this goddamn thing. That's the only thing we can possibly do at this point. And I'm like, all right, shit, I guess we can do that. But while this is happening, chat, Wayne Zielinski, he goes downstairs, and he's just thinking. It's like, okay, what the hell is actually going on? Oh, that's the thing. Because after he goes back upstairs, he's still like, where the fuck the kids are? Where did they go? He's like, where is everybody? And he's just very confused by the situation. Eventually, the wife comes home, Mrs. Zielinski, and she's like, I can't find you know where the kids are? He's like, I don't know where the kids are. And she's like, well, that's weird. And so they're waiting for a little bit, chat. They're just waiting. They're calling all the neighbors, calling all their friends of the family. No one has seen these kids. And apparently she goes out because she's thinking this is weird. And then the next door neighbor, Mrs. Russell Sr., she's like, because they ask her, Mrs. Zielinski's like, hey, have you seen our kids? She's like, no. Have you seen our kids? She's like, no, we have no idea what they are. And we'll let each other know if we find each other's kids. Like, absolutely. And they're like, that's weird. And everyone's very accused by the situation. Now, Mr. Russell Sr., chat, he could give a shit less. He just wants to go on his goddamn fishing trip. He's very upset by the fact that he can't go on this fishing trip. And eventually, Mrs. Zielinski, she goes back in the house, and she says, you know what? I bet they went to the mall or something, or for whatever reason. I'm going to go to the mall and try to find, because kids in the 80s, chat, kids in the 80s, 90s, they always went to malls. And so I'm going to go to the mall. I'm going to try to find them. I'm going to go to their typical haunts. If they come back, just call me. And Zielinski's like, I will do. And so, she heads out. Eventually, Zielinski, he goes back upstairs because he's like, what happened to my fucking thinking couch? And chat, he realizes, wait a minute. Because he's looking at his machine and looks at where his fucking thinking couch is. He's like, oh my God. Grabs a magnifying glass, chat, looks down. Holy shit, it's my thinking couch. And it's so small. He's like, my machine works. Oh shit, I shrunk the kids. He's like, oh, that's not good. And then he starts panicking, Chase. He starts panicking. And he goes outside. He's like, oh, God. Oh, jeez, kids. Are you guys okay? Kids, he's screaming, Chad. He's like looking from the grass. And he steps and goes, oh, I can't step the grass. They might be there. Because now it's like, this is interesting, Chad. Like, he can't go on it. Because if he actually steps in the wrong place, they'd be fucked. He could be crushing them for all. He would never know. They would never find their little bodies, Chad. It's horrifying when you think about it. He's like, shit, I gotta try to find him. And he manages to create this contraption, chat, this thing that we're using where you dry your clothes on, like a clothing line. He creates this weird kind of like weight system where he hooks up the television. I gotta screw this tighter. I don't know why. It keeps dipping, chat, and it bothers the hell out of me. But he creates this pulley system where it weighs on one side, like a TV and some books and shit, and himself. And he uses the spins around, looking for his kids with this giant magnifying glass contraption and these giant lights. And he's shifting through the grass, and these kids are going on their little adventure. And the thing is, like, these kids, some of the kids are getting along, like, Amy and Russell Jr., they like each other, chat. They want to start smooching soon. Ron is a piece of shit. Ron, he's a little psychopath, not bonding well with little sociopath Nick. Those two just do not get along with each other. And he's talking shit constantly, Che. He's like, I don't care. Eventually, though, that's the thing. What happens here? There's a timed sprinkler system with the Zelensky's lawn, and so while Mr. Zelensky he's fucking shifting through the grass and shit, all of a sudden poof, the sprinklers pop up. Now again, chat, that is mundane. There would be no issues with something like that, but for these fucking kids in the lawn, size of 6 millimeters, that is a nightmare. So as soon as the water just begins exploding. And over everybody. Oh, no, I'm sorry, chat. I gotta back up. There's another scene before this. There's actually another very important scene before this one. So when Zelensky, he's going through the goddamn grass and stuff, he also gets into a conversation with Russell Sr., asking for where the hell the kids are and things. And that's where he starts freaking out. But during this sequence, chat, fucking, there's a bee attack. The kids are attacked by bees. And that's not good, chat. It's like, you thought Nick Cage would be terrified when he's getting bees over his face. Imagine a giant bee, chat. That'd be even worse. And so, because little Nick Zelensky, he gets stuck in a flower somehow. And then this bee just comes upon him, chat, and it's rubbing on him and shit. It's horrifying because he's covered in pollen. And so eventually, Russell Jr., he goes up there to save Nick, to show off for Amy, but he gets caught in a situation he could not handle either. They eventually attach themselves to this bee, chat, and they just start fucking zipping around the goddamn backyard. And the bee tries to attack Russell Sr., tries to attack Wayne Zelensky, chat, until they eventually fall off. They fall off the bee, and they're okay, chat, just horrifically traumatized, but they're dealing with it. And that's when Zelensky realized, oh shit, I gotta try to find the kids. And that's when he creates the pulley system, chat. And he's looking at all the shit and everything. But then the sprinkler system goes off. So these kids are just trying to avoid these huge, humongous droplets, like waterfall-sized droplets of water just coming crashing down like bombs. And if one of them hits them, they just explode, chat. Like half their body would just be gone. It'd be fucked up. And so he's like, oh, God, the water. And meanwhile, chat, the fucking Bornsteins who looked at the house that Mrs. Zelensky was trying to sell them 12 goddamn times, they come over for the paperwork, chat. And Mrs. Zelensky, she asked Wayne to give them the paperwork to sign, and then they could leave. But he's all fucking weird. And he's fucking off the grass. Get off. He's screaming at him, chat. The water's coming down. And he runs over there, but he's also trying not to step on the grass. So he's all tangled up in the clothesline and thing. Eventually, he does get himself over there, and he turns out the water, but the kids are all fucked up. They're horrifically traumatized by the situation. And he goes, sorry, you just, can't step on the grass. It's delicate. And the Bornsteins are like, we will not buy this house. Good day. And they leave. It's like, why? You could just, it's too bad. Poor Mrs. Zelensky, chat. She got shown probably a 13th time. Meanwhile, we cut back to the kids. They're like, well, this situation has gotten horribly. Oh, that's the other thing. Amy apparently has drowned, chat, and she is sustaining significant brain damage due to her drowning. But she is thankfully saved. She's thankfully saved by Russell Jr., chat. God, he's a goddamn MVP of this movie. He saves little Nick Zelensky from the bee, chat. He saves Amy, chat. Breathes life back into her, chat. The smooches her back to life. Cuts the water. Thankfully, no brain damage. Thankfully, she's doing okay, and she's very thankful. They're eventually clearing all the mud off of their bodies, chat, getting all hot and, wet and shit. And she's giving them, like, Amy's giving good old Russell Jr. the doe eyes. She's very happy. Thank you, Del Bell. Thank you so much for this Twitch Prime subscription. That's very kind of you. That ant fucked me up when I was young. Oh, I'll get to the ant, Fern. I will get to the ant. But Del Bell, thank you so much for the Twitch Prime subscription. That is very kind of you. We got to do a cartoon poll after this review. Thank you so much. And so there's I'll admit you, there's some nice, the two younger actors who play the Ron and Nick, they're fine. They go from either being fine to like, maybe we could do that again. Maybe we could film that again. Like they're whatever. But I do like the chemistry between Russell Jr. and Amy. They are actually competent actors. They sell this dialogue and the goof situation that they're in. I dig their relationship. It's pretty good. And, Amy and Russell, they're bonding. Nick even points out that, Russell, he saved your life. She goes, hell Yeah, he did. Let's stop making little babies, but no time to making babies right now. Can't do that right now. Maybe later, maybe later. But Amy, she sees Ron, and she basically scolded the shit out of Ron earlier, chat, because he is constantly nagging people, just being a rude little shit. And she's like, you know what? He's traumatized by this situation. Despite him insulting me and my womanhood, his sexist attitude is not needed here. I will make peace. And so she goes over there, chat. Ron kind of looks up. She goes, listen, let's just survive this. It's okay. Let's just end this and let's live. Let's fucking survive. And he goes, okay, yes, absolutely. I'm sorry. She goes, no problem at all. No apology accepted. And then she puts out her hand. He puts out his hand, chat, and then she takes her other hand and puts like a giant piece of shit, like a giant muddy shit, and says like, ah! And he starts screaming. And she's ah! Amy got one on Ron, deservedly so. He's a little shit after all, and she gave him a little shit, chat. And so he did that, and they all washed themselves up. And eventually, Chad, they're walking for a good while. These kids, they can't. I mean, I guess, they went through a hell of a time trying to defend themselves against bees and ocean-sized droplets of water. It's stressful. And they're just fucking starving. They need some food. Amy, she's big on the dairy. She likes her ice cream, chat. She just wants to be in bed, have a good old bowl of ice cream. Talking about strawberry milkshake with chocolate sprinkles. Talking about a banana split. That's like, ooh, that's good. That's good. You have Ron, who's like, I want a corn dog. Now, chat, I think corn dogs are disgusting. I never like corn dogs. I have no problem with a hot dog. Hey, hot dog's a hot dog. Yeah, it's fucking made of pig anuses or whatever mystery meat's in there. But you know what? I can go for a hot dog every, couple times a year. It's like, that's totally fine. But I don't like the breading. I just don't like the breading. I like cornbread's fine, but whatever they put in that breading, it's just really gross to me. It's like, like I remember in the summer when I was very young, I go to friends' houses and things. They eat like corn dogs. I'm like, I just don't want this. And I just peel off the breading. And my other friends eat this. I just eat the meat part. I'm sorry, Chad. I know. I just don't like it. It's gross. I just don't like them combined. I guess I always said coleslaw is the food I just don't like. Also corn dogs, Chad. But I mean, there's better things out there. There's better summer cuisine than corn dogs. Come on now. Come on. You got to give me that. Steve, I'll be saying you corn dogs very soon. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. You are a madman. Yeah, I am. Well, they're talking about all sorts of things that they want to eat, but chat, they come upon it. It's a godsend. And Nick's like, oh my God, it's beautiful. And they run up to it, chat, and it's a giant cookie. What's the cookies? What are the cookies? It's like I forgot what the hell it is, chat. Oh shit! It has the marshmallow stuffing, but then it has like the not the graham cracker, but it's like that oatmeal kind of cookie outside. Not an Oreo. It's not a honey bun. It's not honey. Goddamn, what is it, chap? I don't remember the name of it, but it's driving me crazy. I'm gonna look it up. I have to look it up, chap. I'm sorry. What is the cookie? It has to have a name. Oatmeal cream cookie. I knew it was oatmeal. It's simple, Chad. It's an oatmeal cream cookie. Oatmeal cream pie. Thank you, Ro. And they come upon I love. Listen, the oatmeal cream. I love oatmeal cookies. I love oatmeal raisin, shit like that. Rum raisin. Oh my God, I love rum raisin ice cream. So goddamn good. But they come upon and it's like, and it looked like the greatest thing to me when I was young. And they just start taking these huge chunks of cookie and getting the frost. I'm just eating it. I was like, yes, I want that. I must consume. Speaking of G, think of that one bitty. Chris Loki making all of us hungry. I know. But it was just, I was like, I love that scene in that movie. It's like, yes. Because any kid would like, dessert, the biggest dessert in the world. You can just take huge chunks and just begin stuffing your face. Great. And they're all eating this shit. They're enjoying themselves. But then Amy, she looks up and she sees an ant, chat. Now, probably in the wild, chat, the ant will be like, oh, that's fucking food. Not only the cookie, but those little fleshlings that are moving around slowly. And it would just start eating them. But they're like, they start screaming and shit, and they run away. And the ant is just eating the cookie, chat, eating the cookie. It's eating the s'more part, having a good old time. And they're like, we must capture this ant and enslave it and make it do our bidding. We must do this, chat. They're like, we have to, sorry, but it has to go back to that time. They have to go back to the time in order to survive. We got to enslave this ant. And they all run. This poor little ant, it's just fucking going back to its little ant colony. He's got like, hey, I got a piece of cookie. The hope the queen, everyone else is excited. Yay, it's just happy. He had a good day, chat. It's like, I did good. And he's walking back to his colony, chat. And then these fleshing little savages like, they attack. He's like, oh my God. He drops his cookie, tries to escape, chat. They all jump on him. And he's fucking freaking out. Ron, he's beating on the thing. Amy, she's trying to get one of no one's legs off, and Nikki jumps on it too, and Russell, he's like, but Russell gets fucked. Everyone gets bitch slapped. Everyone gets bitch slapped and shit. It's just not a good situation. Riding it like one of those, like a bull, like you're trying to break a horse chad or break a bull. It's not a good situation. But eventually, Amy, she's the smartest one among them. She got them street smart chat. She may have not gotten the brain of her father, but she got the common sense of her mother. And in hindsight, probably worth a lot more. You have a stronger survival instincts with the common sense of your mother, Amy. And so she goes back to the cookie, and she takes a piece of the cookie, and she now leads the ant, and the ant comes down because it wants a piece of the cookie. Chad. Who wouldn't want a giant oatmeal cream cookie? And she's like, I don't know what to do. And eventually, Ron, he comes up with a plan. He ties the cookie around a piece. They find string somehow. Maybe it's a piece of blade of grass. I'm not sure. And they find it, and they got a stick, and they lead the ant towards the direction of the house. So they have enslaved this poor thing, and they are just dangling a piece of cookie that it so desperately needs to impress its leader and thousands of other siblings at this point, Chad. It's not a good time. And I think they name him Anthony, which, again, stolen from Ant-Man, Chad. Stolen from the comic pages of Ant-Man, of Marvel Comics, TM. And so they go on their adventure. Eventually, Russell Sr., he's upset because he's got to cancel his fishing trip, and his fucking friend comes by, and he's like, where are the kids? He's like, they're so excited to go on the trip, but you know what? Why I can't go on my trip? And him and his wife just had a conversation. She's like, we just got to tell them the truth that we just can't find the kids. We have to make a police report about it. And he's like, oh, sure. And he concocts this fucking elaborate thing, kind of shitty, a little sexist of Russell Sr. He tells his friend, my wife, she's having the lady problem. And it's like, what does that mean, the lady problems? What are you referring to, Russell Sr.? And he fucking goes back. His guy's just like, her lady problems. And he goes back on the bus, very dismissive of his wife, of his own wife, chat. And they go back there and they drive off for fish. And Mrs. Russell Sr., she's like, so did you tell him the truth? He goes, yep. It's like, that is a lie. They gave him Auntie. Okay, fair enough. They named him Auntie. Fair enough. And so they call the police and everything. And the police come by, and Russell Sr., he doesn't like the popo. Apparently, he's very dismissive because the police they're questioning him. It's like, this dad is very aggressive towards us. I imagine he beats his children vigorously every day. Vigorously. His son just wants to dance. The dad's, for whatever reason, brought up the fact that Russell Jr. doesn't want to play football or doesn't want to lift weights. And like, you're abusing him because he's not like you. It's like, no, it's not true. Very defensive all of a sudden. And they make the police report and things. Eventually, Miss Zielinski, she comes home, and, Mr. Zielinski's just like, good old Rick Moranis. He's like, honey, I shrunk the kids. She's like, what the fuck are you talking about, you shrunk the kids? Shows her the couch, and she's like, oh my God. And she grabs him, you get my baby's back. And the police are knocking on the door right after knocking on the door. Because Rick Moranis, he fucking called the cops. He's like, we gotta call this in. And she stops choking him just in time for him to open the door, chat. And, they're like, we had a missing children's report here. Oh, no, the wife called from the mall. That's what happened. Wife called from the mall. He didn't call. He's like, I'm not getting in trouble for this. And he's like, no missing kids. No, they're fine. Everything's fine. How are you? And meanwhile, Mrs. Zielinski just has a fucking conniption chat or an anxiety attack, and she fucking kills over. Brain damage, bleeding profusely. They leave. They eventually leave. And then Mrs. Zielinski and Wayne Zielinski, they spend the rest of the night just searching for their kids. She gets a contraption in their head. They're on the pulley system out back just looking, just spending hours upon hours. And eventually we cut back to the children. They are exhausted, chat. And they have made some progress using their enslaved aunt named Auntie, but they also need to rest. And they come upon, chat, a monolith of incredible proportion. It is a giant blue Lego, chat. A giant blue Lego. And they stop there. Nick and Ron, they fight over the top portion, the little hole in the Lego, and they go up in that hole, and they spend the night together. Just, farting, do whatever the hell else little boys do. But then we get some bonding time between Amy and Russell Jr. And he's a fucking prince, chat. He's a mensch, because he offers her the lowest hole, offers her the lowest hole, and she sleeps in there, and she asks, you think they're, because he asks, you think they're going to be warm up there? And she's like, I'm sure they're going to be fine. And then he, fucking smooth move of Russell Jr., he's like, are you sure you're going to be warm in there? And she's like, oh, you. She laughs. She's like, all right, that's pretty fucking clever. Oh, also, they come upon a burnt down cigarette too. Burnt out their dad. He's got the black lung. He's like, he flicks one of the cigarettes, and they come upon that, and they use that for warmth. And eventually, good old Russell Jr., him and Amy keep talking. They keep talking about their, because they just can't fucking sleep, shit. They just can't sleep. They're too stressed out about their responsibilities. They're talking to each other, and they learn about each other. And eventually, Amy's like, "Why didn't you ever come over to the house?" Russell, he's like, I was embarrassed. I was shy. You're like, the most popular person I know, and I just didn't think you would notice me. And she goes, "That's stupid." And she goes, "Yeah." He's like, "I know." It's like, no. That's stupid that I didn't notice you. I'm sorry. And then the smooching commences, chat. Oh, they start doing it. It's like, here we fucking go. Again, trauma and tragedy will bring people together. And they're smooching. And while they're doing that, chat, we see off in the distance behind the Lego, a giant scorpion is coming upon them. And he wants some fucking humy meat. And he gets there, chat. Everyone's like, I see a scorpion. And they're like, they're running away and shit. But the thing is, little Ron is stuck inside the Lego. And the scorpion's like, I'm going to get that little bastard. Come here. He's trying to get over his fucking giant pincer shit, but he's too thick. He's too dumb thick with his pincers. And so he tries to get in there, chat, but fucking who comes to his rescue? It's not his big brother, Russell Jr. And it's not Amy. It's not even Nick, chat. No, it's fucking Auntie, the thing that he enslaved. It's like, please don't hurt my master. And he fucking rides in there, chat, and he starts fighting this scorpion. Oh, poor Auntie. And he puts up a good fight, chat, but he's a little baby ant. He's a little baby boo. And the thing is, the scorpion, gets him with the pincer, chat, and right into his head. The poison, and it's just pumped into his little ant body, his poor atrophied ant body. And eventually the kids, they use the power of cigarettes to ward off the scorpion. It goes off, shit. It guns off. It's scared. It doesn't like the fire. And then they surround Anthony, who's slowly withering away because of the intense amount of scorpion venom that is in throughout his body, spreading throughout his body. And it's giving like little until it stops, stops doing those little coos, chat. And fucking Ron, he is just beside himself. He is crying. He's ugly. He's like, he's ugly crying. And he wraps himself on him. And Auntie passes away, Chad. He passes away into the great unknown. This little ordinary, I'll tell you what, this little ordinary thing. And Aunt, where you'd be like, you would smush it. And they made you care about this ant. Like, I'll give it that. Hey, I'm sorry about Automod. I don't know why Automod is being so goddamn aggressive. Yeah, go ahead and, goddamn it. Go ahead and, allow some of these things in there. I'm not sure why it's being so aggressive. Apologies for that, chat. Apologies. Yeah. I'm going to have to, chat, after this goddamn review, I don't know why the hell this is falling, like, so often. It's very weird. Anyway, I'm going to fix this right after I do this review. And so they're all sad and shit. Eventually, we cut back to Mrs. and Mr. Wayne Zielinski. And they're like, we're not going to find him. And we're going to have to fucking tell the Thompsons about what happened. And Wayne's like, are you sure? Because we're going to get sued. And she's like, we got to fucking do it. And so they bring over the Thompsons. He's like, yeah, I shrunk your kids. And Mr. Thompson's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And Mrs. like, wait, excuse me? And then she shows, like, look at the couch. Look how small it is. Mr. Thompson's like, oh, it's nothing. It's just a little couch. But Mrs. Thompson's like, oh, shit, you really did it. What do we need to do? Where can we find him? And they're explaining to the mom. He's like, honey, we don't need to hear this. We could just leave. We're just going to wait for them. And they go back to the house. And we learned that Mr. Thompson, even despite he's put up with this big front, he does care for his children, Chad. He wants to help his kids, but he just doesn't know what to do. He's like, I just missed them. I don't care about the fishing trip. Mrs. Thompson, I don't know her name, Chad. I don't know Mrs. Thompson's name. I don't care about that, okay? I care about finding my boys. And he's crying, she's crying, Chad. And eventually, Mr. Zielinski, Mrs. Zielinski, they sit out on their front, on the back porch. They're just talking to each other, talking about their marriage, talking about their baby, chat, how they're gonna find them. And it's like, as soon as we find them, we're gonna unshrink them. And Wayne Zielinski realizes, I'm gonna go work on the machine right now because we are going to do it. They're out there. They are dedicated. But the thing is, Mrs. Zielinski is like, you know what? I'm not despite the horrific terrors that await them in the grasses that is our lawn. The only thing that she's concerned about Chad in the situation is, for whatever reason, Russell Jr. She's with Amy's with that Russell Jr. What's the big fucking deal? He seems like a very nice boy. He seems like a very nice boy. He likes to dance. What's wrong with that? And Miss Zelinsky, she's got some preconceived notions about Russell Jr. He'd be excellent for Amy, okay? I think he'd treat her well. I think he treated her well, Chad. I think Mrs. Zelinsky is going too far on Russell Jr. Anyway, Chad, we cut back to the Zelinsky children. They are now sleeping together in one of the holes of the Lego. And they're having a good time. But they wake up and are like, we got to get fucking going. We just have to get going and get to the back porch as quickly as possible. Meanwhile, chat, the little nerdy, not nerdy kid, but the other neighbor kid that earlier wanted to mow the lawn. He's supposed to be back at the Zelinsky residence before lunchtime. It's the next goddamn day. He is irresponsible, Jeff. He gets there, he's like, yeah. He gets the fucking remote control, activates the lawnmower, and then he starts mowing the lawn. And this is the biggest of all catastrophes, because the kid's like, shit. They're like almost getting sucked up in the lawnmower, Chad. Debris is going by at 100 miles per hour. It hits them in the fucking head. They're dead. And they make their way down into these underground tunnels, which are dug by earthworms. Thankfully, we're not attacked by an earthworm, chat. I guess they're harmless to little 6mm sized people. And like, we're gonna hide here. And eventually, we cut back to Wayne Zelinsky. He's asleep, but he fixed the machine, Chad. He fixed the machine, and his wife, Miss Zelinsky, goes up the stairs, and she sees him that he's fixed the machine, and she goes, "Oh my God, you're so hot, Rick Moranis." She's like, "Just do it." She's very sexually attracted. She says, "I love you, Wayne Zelinsky." And then he wakes up, she wakes him up, and he's like showing her the machine. She's like, I think we got it. I think we can do the test. And and it's like, okay, cool. And but the thing is, when he's showing her all the parts of the machine, she's like, what is that? Is that chainsaw? It's like, oh no, it's just the backyard lawnmower. The lawnmower, and they go check, and the lawnmower is just all over the grass, just mowing every single goddamn square. No, and they run down there, chat. They run down there. Meanwhile, they get down to the front porch area, and they're just screaming like, "Neighbor kid!" I don't know what the kid's name is, but neighbor kid, neighbor kid, neighbor kid. He's like, "What?" He turns around. He's like, What is it?" And then he stops the lawnmower, Chad, and it stops over one of the earthworm holes, and that's when little Nicky Zelinsky, he is sucked up into the line. He's like, but it's okay, because everyone starts grabbing him, and they start forming a little human chain, and they're trying to hang on to little Nick Zelinsky, or they'll eventually all be sucked up there. And he's like, "What's wrong?" They're like, "Turn off the lawnmower." And eventually he does, turns it off. They grab the shit out of him. They're like, "Come here." And he's like, I'm sorry, don't hit me. Please don't hit me. Something's going on in neighborhood kid's house, chat. Why would he instantly go to don't hit me? He's being abused at home. It's not good. So, they're like, no, it's okay. We're very, sensitive about the grass. You did fine. Just go through the house, and you can come back later. And then she's like, okay, whatever. And he leaves. And everything's fine. The kids, they are thrusted away, and they are finally at the back porch. And yes, we made it. And so, but then the parents are screaming. They see their parents, both of them. They're like, Dad, Mom, Mrs. Zelinsky. They're screaming. But they don't hear them, Chad. They're too goddamn small. They go back in the house. And Miss Zelinsky begins making breakfast for her husband, Chad. Makes some Cheerios and some orange juice. The cornerstones of any nutritious breakfast. And then they're like, what are we going to do? And Nick says, well, we're close enough to the fucking porch now. Let's yell for Quark. He'll hear us like he did earlier. And they're like, Quark. And Quark, he comes out there. And they're like, he goes, yay, humans. And they grab onto his little fur, Chad. And he takes him inside. He hops up on the countertop. He goes, and he goes, and literally they fall off. But little Nick Zelinsky, Chad, poor little Nick Zelinsky, he lands in the bowl of Cheerios. They're slowly being consumed by Rick Moranis. And so Rick Moranis is like, he's very up close. If people who like vor, here you fucking go. A lot of vor here you get right now. Many a fetish. Many child and adult discovered like, shit, I got a vor fetish. That's exactly what happened, Chad. So he's fucking eating all this shit. And the kids are like, don't eat him. No, Nick's in there. And Nick's like, he says my favorite line in the movie, Dad, don't eat me. Dad, don't eat me. He's just screaming. That's hilarious. And eventually, little Quark, he fucking starts mauling on Rick Moranis' leg. Fuck Chris knows about. Of course I do. I know many fetishes. And so he starts gnawing on little Quark's, Quark starts gnawing on Rick Moranis' leg. He's like, what was that? He's like, wait a minute. And he pulls up a giant magnifying glass. Nick, he's like, ah! He's screaming, oh my God, it's Nick. And he's like, I think Nick's pointing to something. He's like, kids! And they see like, yes, oh thank God. They're all screaming and hugging and shit. And eventually, he takes them, Chad. He takes them up to the laboratory, and he brings over the Thompsons, the Thompsons, and they're like, "Oh my God, my kids are so small." And Mirage is like, "Don't. It's okay. It's okay. We can do it. We can unshrink them. We can make them big. We can embiggen them once again. I'm gonna test it on this apple." They go over the apple, Chad. Fucking thing explodes. He goes, "Shit, that's not good." How'd this work? And he's like, "I don't want you to blow up my fucking kids." There's a great line in the movie earlier where it's like, because Russell Senior asks, like, how do we know that you shrunk our kids? Well, I definitely didn't blow them up because they'd be everywhere. Be kids everywhere. I thought that was a great line. They're like, what? And then the kids are still yelling like, hey, hey, hey. And they mime. It's unnecessary, but they're miming like baseball. He's like, baseball? The baseball. He goes over. Yeah, when your little piece of shit son knocked into our house, the baseball hit the machine and it blocked the laser. There's a burn mark on here. They blocked the laser. That's what happened. And it's like, oh, it's just too much heat. That's what it was. I was like, okay, let's do that. And he's like, we can do it on the kids. He's like, oh, no, we could test it now. I was like, well, we could test it on. We're not going to test it on the kids first. And you look at Quark, but he fucking runs away. He's like, well, I guess we can't use it on the dog. And like Wayne, Rick Barrett's like, you know what? This is my fault. I'll be the one to do it. And Russell's like, hell no, I'll be the one to do it. I'm going to be the goddamn hero of this movie. So he's like, okay, I'll do it. And so he sits down on a little testing chair, chat. And they zap him with that shrink ray. He's like, oh, and they go over to him. He's small. He's a little small Russell Sr. And they bring him back, Chad. He's like, I feel okay. But it explodes. And then he explodes everywhere. Chad's like, oh my God. Russell Sr. is now dead, Chad. They cannot use the shrink ray. That character is good. No, he's fine. He's okay. Well, he's a little fucked up, though, honestly, because when he wears a hat throughout the movie, it's ill-fitting. But when he puts the hat on again, it's too big for him. So clearly the machine doesn't work exactly. It doesn't bring you back to the original size. Okay, it's a little fucked up. And so like, okay, well, let's do it on the kids. They fucking use it on the kids. Hey, they're unshrunk. Yay, everyone's happy. Hugs and kisses and smooches around. Everyone can't believe it. And, Russell, he's hugging his kids like, I love you boys. And Russell Jr. is like, Dad, I'll try for the football. He's like, no, I don't care about that. I care about you. I care about you boys, okay? You can do whatever you want, or you put your mind to whatever you're interested in. I will support you in your decision. See, even Russell Sr., chat, who doesn't seem that smart, but he's got a good heart. He understands he's got to be there for his boys. He's a good guy. And Wayne Zielinski's saying, I'm sorry that I've been very, neglectful of all you guys. Since we're all going to be fucking trillionaires now, everything's fucking golden. It's like, hell yeah, it is. And Russell Sr., he walks over to Wayne Zielinski, offers him his hand. And he takes it, and he embraces Wayne Zielinski's head. And he says, now, you do know. And he fucking puts his hand to the side of his head. He says, you do know that I could sue you for a lot of money. So how about you give me 10% whatever the fuck this thing's going to be worth, and we'll call it even. And Winston goes, you know what? Sounds good. So the Russells, the Thompsons, Chad, they're going to be filthy fucking rich, and they're buying over that. They're having a good, that's what I would have done. And I was like, I can earn some fucking money from this. 10%? Hell yeah. 10% of the greatest invention of all mankind? Yeah, I can do that one. Sounds good to me. And so then we cut, Chad. It's like months later. It's at Christmas time, and the Thompsons and the Zielinskis together, they're toasting each other, and they're sitting down in front of a giant turkey, Chad. A giant turkey. It's delicious. Oh, even before that too, Chad. Because then Amy and good old Russell, they start talking, Russell Jr., after they come unshrunk, and he tells her, he's like, you know what, you can, it looks like you can go to the dance now. She goes, yeah, do you want to come with me? He goes, hell yeah, I do. So they're going steady, chat. They're dating. And then we can see at the Christmas, everyone's sitting down for a tremendous, like a fucking buffalo-sized turkey. And then Russell and Amy, they're playing footsie underneath the table, chat, with like thick sneakers. I don't know how that's very sexual, but they're playing footsie, and everyone's happy about it. And we cut to good old Quark, Chad, good old Quark, and he's eating a giant dog biscuit. He's having a great time. Everyone's happy. And that, my friends, is Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, a very commercial and critically successful film spawning one of the, a pretty cool franchise, in my opinion, one that I certainly grew up with, Chap. Listen. There are things that are dated about the film. Not all the acting is great, not all the dialogue is great, but it does have its charm, and it's a really cool idea. It was the film's ideas were just bigger than its budget. I think that's its true flaw. But it's still a fun film. I think it's great for kids, and that's why I'd probably give. I think it's a solid matinee. It's a solid matinee in my opinion, Chad. It's a fun movie.